Well, hello, and welcome to this new stream today. We are talking about professional image. I have some issues here because sometimes I get calls from clients, prospects actually, companies, and they're looking for headshots. And so I asked them, well, what kind of a headshot you're looking for? And, I try to dig a little deeper into the requirements for their image. And sometimes I hear this as like, oh, nothing special, just a classic LinkedIn picture. And I take exception to that because on LinkedIn, I expect people to have their best professional image. But it is true, in fact, that many headshots that are there, many profile photos are not that great. And unfortunately, that is a common case. So I wanted to address that today because I learned one thing from another client. We have 7 seconds to make a great first impression. 7 seconds. After that, the magic is gone. And 55% of people's opinion about us depends on the way we present ourselves. So how does that translate into the virtual world? Because now so much business is done in virtual. And that was before the lockdowns. With the lockdowns, we have shifted. There is no turning back. So a lot more emphasis is done now on in the cyber world. How you appear on social media, how you appear on your website. How do you present yourself? The care that you have spent in presenting yourself becomes an issue, becomes a factor, not an issue, a factor. If you haven't spent the time and money in caring for your presentation online, that can actually be a factor against you. So, what are the elements of your professional image? Because it's not just one thing. It's not just how you dress. It's not the headshot. It's not the background. And I want to dispel one thing for right away. There are 2 types of portraits. There is your personal portrait and there is your professional portrait. There are more types, but let's simplify it, okay? Because I often see people bring into their professional portrait their personal thinking. And it is a personal brand. We talk about personal brand, and it is. But in the context of work, on the context of a professional application, there is a shift. So what is in the background is not that important. The fact that you're a professional working in a specific city is not that important. What is important is how you connect with the viewer. And I want to give you some examples. So I didn't want to go on LinkedIn and take out, the negative examples. I don't want to start, criticizing people. That doesn't work. I thought about doing it sometimes, always with the intention of improving. But now, let me just instead give you some examples of what I mean, because so many words are not really helping. So, okay, let's switch to some of my clients. Why is this picture working? Is it because we see the face behind the name? Well, we don't see the name now, but you know what I mean. And that's not it. The reason why this image works is because of the connection. Look at her eyes. Look at the beautiful expression that there is there. It's of confidence, but it's not the confidence that intimidates. It's a good confidence. It's the right amount. There is a fine line between confidence and arrogance. Okay, we have to make sure that we never cross it. Not that my clients are arrogant; they're not. But when you exude too much confidence in photos, it might look like that. There is a special language of the photo, and that is important to understand. A photo is not a document, it's a story. Okay, we have two types of motion pictures, just roughly speaking. There are the documentaries, so great movies about telling something that happened in real life. And then there is the storytelling. In my photography, and I might be, unusual, but I don't care I don't care. I'm not interested in doing photography at the documentarian level. That doesn't excite me. What I like to do is photography at the storyteller level, even when I'm telling the story of a business person, because there is so much passion, there is so much sacrifice, there is so much creativity, there is so much ingenuity behind every business person. And in some way, to a certain degree, I want that to appear in the portrait. Because if we don't have that, then what's the point? To have just an ID? I don't care for the ID photo. The ID photo is something that you got at DMV. When you go to a photographer to build your own brand, well, that's a completely different story. There has to be something alive there. There has to be a connection, and that is what I see there. Now, that is caused. This is not something that happens by accident. I just learned after the photo shoot that this person, her name is Kim. Kim came to my studio about a month ago, and she was very nervous. And she told me she was really nervous about doing this photo shoot. And I am incredibly grateful that people who feel so nervous come to my studio and they do it anyway. They go, they fight against their own apprehension, against their own anxiety, if you want. They power through, and then they come up with this amazing expression. And it takes work on both sides. But to me, this is an incredibly powerful image, and this is something that will pass the 7 seconds test. Okay, we have done something slightly different for a second portrait. It's a little more relaxed, if you want, a little softer. Still, great image to have at the business level. Would you hire a person like this? Yes. I mean, hiring in the very, very, very general sense. Yes, of course. This is lighter. There is a completely different wardrobe. But the point is, there is the connection. This is important. How you come through personality-wise, that is what makes a professional portrait powerful. Then all the other elements, like the wardrobe, hair, makeup, all done professionally, all that stuff is vital. The tone, for example, let me just move to something different. I go like this. A different background will create a different tone. So gray background, maybe it's a little more serious, okay? And a white background can be a little softer. I love the white background. In fact, I do a lot of photo shoots in that way. So let me just check one thing here. I want to make sure that everything is running fine. Great. So let's take a look at this other thing. Very young woman works at a legal studio, at a law firm, sorry. And she was too very nervous about it. Isn't that funny? All these beautiful women being very nervous about their appearance. I understand. And I try to do my best to make everybody relax. Well, this is a completely different look. So this is relaxed, posing, resting on the wall. This is more of a self-standing pose. Again, what is important is the connection that there is there in the image. I was just looking at, I'm getting an error message from YouTube about the streaming. Hopefully everything goes well. This is a completely different pose. And again, I would say all these images, as different as they all have this great element in common. And notice one thing, I never shoot down on people. There is that, let me clarify with another camera. No? I never go like this, shooting, with a lens pointing down at a person. You see that the camera is kind of focused, the camera level is about at the nose, maybe lower. It can be like in this area here. This is the center of the lens. Why don't I do that? Why don't I shoot down? Because I see a lot of that, unfortunately. There is a language in the camera which is implicit. We have learned about that language. And that is when you're looking down with the camera, you're looking down on somebody. You're making that person smaller. And the person has to look up. And to me, that is never a good, even if you're smiling, it's not a good look. It's not a professional, powerful look. Okay. So there are multiple elements. Is the posing important? The body language. The body language is fundamental. See, this is very, the position of the shoulder, the position of the hands, the resting pose, the confident smile, the beautiful hair and makeup done. All that contributes to an incredibly powerful professional image. Same here. This is a restful position. This is a more of a, there's a little more power in it. Let me see if I have some other examples. This, another interesting pose. All these are different ways of portraying people in a professional set, in a professional configuration. But again, all the elements that I generally have in my images are here. There is a very strong connection. One thing I don't suggest to have is to look away. When you're looking away, it might be a nice picture, it might be a nice portrait. It's a personal portrait. But if you don't make a connection with the viewer, you are going to miss an opportunity there. People look at your portrait photo to make a decision, not to recognize you. Yeah, sure, it's fine to be able to see the person in the face and recognize that person maybe before a meeting. But that is not why they're looking at you. That is not why they're clicking on your portrait. They want to make a connection. If you're looking away, if you have high sunglasses, if you are, you know, in an other situation where you're not looking straight at the person, or, you know, maybe even sideways, but it has to be a good connection. Okay. Well, this is another person, by the way, who was incredibly nervous about her photo shoot. And you see the confidence and relaxed pose. Posing helps a lot. I help my clients going through different poses because I know that by trying different situations, sooner or later, they will click in one that, yeah, this feels good to me. And when that happens, this happens. The confidence, the smile that is happening, not just in the mouth, but also in the eyes, all these elements together. To me, this is the quintessential professional portrait. Not because I made it, but because of the objective result. She's looking confident, she's great, she's relaxed, she is sharp dressed, everything works great. Similarly, this is another example of a great business profile, a business image, a professional image. Again, the camera is slightly lower than the eye, maybe about the nose level. It gives a little more power to the image, and there is the confident smile, there is a light in the eyes, the person is looking at you, you're making direct contact. That cannot be underestimated. To me, that is everything. Same here. Softer smile, assured look, very powerful, very good. This is one of the few exceptions, but this is one of the examples I wanted to bring up because, yes, he is looking away, but with John Kuhn, I created so many portraits, many of them when he's facing straight at the camera, that the relaxed tone, pensive, looking away, I thought it was a great image for him. It is an additional one. This is great to have as an add-on. Not as your main headshot. In your main headshot, you want to be looking straight at the person, but as part of, for example, a website collection, yes. Or it could be, for example, an image to go together with a blog article. And that is perfectly good, but not as your main headshot. That would deprive you of the ability to connect directly with the viewer. And again, and again, and again. You see the elements. These are what I consider very valid professional images. They can be professional, they can be more relaxed. In this case, we have kind of a more, I wouldn't say casual, it's a semi-formal attire. But again, it is a very strong portrait that could be used for any kind of professional configuration. So I hope this was useful. These are some of the ideas I have about professional image, and I want to explore this subject more in the next few weeks. My goal here is to do a stream every single week, possibly Tuesday or Thursday. Please join me again next week, and thank you very much for watching. Ciao.